Recently, we had a wonderfully, overwhelmingly affirmative vote to name Pastor Dave Schmidt to succeed me as lead pastor at Ellerslie. I've been invited by Curt Johnston, our board chair, to share with all of you what I shared at our recent congregation meeting regarding some of my own personal and pastoral leadership journey that has led us to this place. In the conversations I've had since this process became more public last fall, it seems to me that one of the central underlying questions is, why are you really leaving? And why now, when things appear to be going so well? At times I fear that underlying that question might be a qualifying one. They are going well, aren't they? First, let me address some things that are not behind my thinking in this decision. I am not being pushed out. This process was initiated by me. Second, it's not because things are not going well. The answer to the question, why leave when things are going well, is because things are going well. From the day I made the decision to come to Ellerslie just over 7 years ago, I have asked God for the gift, for the privilege of being able to leave when things are going well, not because things have started to turn south. I continue to love working with the staff that God has allowed us to build, and I continue to feel supported by and delight in following the leadership of our board. Number 3, it's not due to COVID fatigue. Yes, this has been a challenging time, but over and over again, I have thanked God for the privilege of allowing me to lead Ellerslie during this time. This process actually began long before we had even heard of COVID. Finally, okay, this is personal, and personal means it's an ego thing, right? But it's not because I'm retiring. Well, I will allow God to determine that, but I do hope and invite you to pray that God will continue to allow LaDonna and I the privilege of a position of service for Him and the discernment to say yes to the opportunity that He has for us. So then, why leave now? Since I came to Ellerslie, I've always believed that you grow among the generation that you platform. The place that God has put us is a young family area. God has allowed us to hire some great younger staff, and we are seeing solid growth and development, especially among those in their 20s and early 30s. However, I have always known that at some point I would have to bite the bullet myself, being willing to apply that principle to the role of lead pastor. I've continually asked God to help me be open to seeing that time when it came. One of the things that has always been on my mind and in my prayer during this whole time has been that things could be done in the least disruptive way possible, and with us, or with as much continuity as possible. And as I began discussing this first with our board chair and then the entire board together with a consultant, a simple principle that came to the fore was, if you like the direction things are going, look internally first for your next lead pastor. If you don't like the direction things are going, look externally. So why now? During COVID season? As many of you have observed, our team has grown in unity, in commitment, in focus, in maturity during this time. A large part of the credit for that is the leadership Pastor Dave has given our staff. It's my prayer that making the transition now will give our staff and board the freedom to come out of COVID and be able to move forward together without the disruption of a lead pastor transition very soon down the road. Finally, something very personal, a perspective-shaping experience that God allowed into my life during this time. As some of you are aware, in February 2014, between the time I candidated at Ellerslie and the time I assumed my role here, I had radiation treatment in my eye for what was diagnosed as a choroidal melanoma. So as not to damage my vision, the radiation treatment could not be as extensive as therapeutically necessary. And so I have been in watch and wait mode, having regular checkups since that time. At my checkup last month, the ocular oncologist informed me that the time had come for more aggressive treatment. When I asked what time frame she was thinking about, she said, sometime this spring. My first thought was, after getting over the initial shock was, wow, 2 years ago, as I began thinking about a possible transition time, looking at it from a number of different angles, it was spring 2021 that I landed on as the optimal time. It hit me that although I think my rationale was sound, God also had a much bigger picture. Maybe this process and the timing of it was a way that God was preparing Ellerslie for the continuity that I have always prayed for. And as I thank God for that, I also realized in a deeper way that if God loves His church that much, He might also love LaDonna and I enough to care for us as well. So my number one prayer is hopefully not a surprise to you. It's that both LaDonna and I and Ellerslie will walk this journey of transition with commitment and the confidence of David when he says, I have set the Lord always before me because He is at my right hand. I will not be shaken. May God bless us all with a greater awareness of the fullness of His grace, the security of His love, and the rest of His peace. God bless you.